So I want to start today with a question that I think pretty much everyone has asked themselves at least once.
Oh, yeah, I think I know where you're going with this.
Right. Like usually it happens when you're stuck in traffic.
Mm.
Or maybe after a really heated argument when you're just standing there alone in the kitchen,
Mhm.
you say something out loud, maybe you even scream it.
Yeah.
And then there's just silence. The air settles,
Mhm.
the sound waves bounce off the fridge, and it feels like those words just kind of dissolved.
Yeah, they just vanish.
It's like they evaporated into nothing.
Well, that is the standard way we experience communication, right? We tend to think of speech as this ephemeral thing.
Just air.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
air. It happens, it carries a bit of information or maybe emotion for a split second, and then it vanishes without a trace.
We think of it as venting, like letting steam out of a pot. But I've been reading through this stack of sources you sent over for today's deep dive, and honestly, it's kind of messing with my head.
I can imagine. It completely flips that idea on its head.
It really does.
Yeah.
Because the source material we are looking at today argues the exact opposite of that ephemeral idea.
It certainly does.
So the text is titled The Power of Prayer and the Duty of Children of Light. And I have to say, when I first saw that title, I thought, okay, this is going to be a list of nice, comforting sentiments, spiritual encouragement.
A devotional.
Right, a devotional. But it's not really that at all, is it? It reads more like an instruction manual for a piece of heavy machinery.
That is actually a really great way to put it. It's much less of a devotional and more of a technical schematic.
Yeah, schematic is the perfect word.
The author isn't just offering encouragement to the reader, they are outlining a very specific mechanical worldview. They are proposing a sort of physics of spirituality, if you will.
A physics of spirituality. I like that a lot. For those of you listening, our mission today isn't just to read a religious text, it's to analyze the system described within it.
Exactly. We are looking at the spiritual cause and effect.
Because in this worldview, words aren't just air. The text says they have mass, they have velocity, and most importantly, they trigger a chain reaction that the text claims can literally move heaven and earth. And that is a massive claim. See, that's the part that really got me, the moving heaven and earth bit. It sounds like a tagline for a superhero movie. But before we get to the earth moving part, I want to back up to the starting line.
The input phase.
Right, the input. Because the text spends a lot of time explaining what actually happens the second word leaves your mouth. And it's not a direct line to the CEO, is it?
No, and this is where the text really distinguishes itself from a lot of modern abstract spirituality. It introduces a logistical system.
Logistics.
Yes. It says that every word and prayer we offer is carried through the angels.
Okay, so let's pause on that for a second. Angels. I think most of us have this cartoon image of angels sitting on clouds playing harps.
Right, the Renaissance paintings.
Exactly. But that's not what's happening here at all.
Mhm.
Why does this text insist on them being involved? Like, why not just have a direct mental upload to the divine?
Well, it comes back to that idea of a mechanical universe we were just talking about. The text actively rejects the idea of prayer as just a solitary mental exercise.
So it's not just thinking good thoughts.
No, it views prayer as a physical package that needs to be delivered. The angels here are described essentially as couriers.
Wow.
They are the logistics network of the spiritual realm.
So it's less like a telepathic link and more like the postal service.
In a way, yes. Or perhaps a fiber optic network carrying data packets. The text is very specific. It says the angels are the ones who work, which implies labor,
They're blue-collar workers.
basically. They are taking the input your words and physically transporting them.
And the way the text describes that input is wild. It doesn't use digital metaphors, obviously. It uses very visceral ancient imagery. It says, our words are carried like fragrant smoke or smoke of a censer.
It's a very powerful image.
It is, but why smoke? Is it just to sound poetic?
I don't think so. I think the author is really trying to convey substance. Think about smoke for a second. It's physical. It occupies space. If someone lights a fire in the room next to us, we know about it instantly.
It travels under the door.
Exactly, it travels. It has a scent. It lingers. By using this specific metaphor, the source is arguing that prayer actually becomes a substance in the spiritual realm.
So it's not invisible data.
No, it's something that can be seen and smelled in the throne room of the divine.
That's actually kind of intimidating when you think about it. If my words turn into smoke, it makes me wonder about the quality of the smoke I'm putting out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, am I creating this nice, fragrant aroma, or am I just smogging up the place with complaints?
That is precisely the question the text wants you to ask. If words have physical properties in this realm, then pollution is a real possibility.
Spiritual pollution. Wow.
But before we even worry about the quality of the smoke, the text addresses a more fundamental skepticism that a lot of people have. The reception.
Right. The whole, is anyone actually listening to me question.
Exactly. And the text offers a really interesting rhetorical argument here. It doesn't just say, hey, you need to have faith.
Right. It's more logical than that.
It is. It uses an argument from design.
Hmm.
It asks, how could the God who created the ear not hear?
I marked that exact section. It felt very grounded. Like, if you invented the microphone, obviously you understand how audio recording works.
Precisely. The logic is that the creator cannot possibly be less capable than the creation.
Makes sense.
If God engineered the complex biology that allows you to hear a whisper or a pin drop from across the room, it stands to reason that he possesses that capability in its absolute infinite form.
And the text seems to imply there's no filter on this, right? Like, no selective hearing. It says he hears everything.
Everything we say down to the smallest groans.
Even the groans.
Even the groans. The text is adamant that nothing is filtered out. There's no mute button on this transmission.
So it's an always on microphone,
Always on.
which is both comforting and terrifying depending on what you've been groaning about recently.
Very true.
But okay, let's assume the message gets through. The smoke rises, the early hears it. What happens next? Because this is where the text shifts from just communication to actual action.
Yes. This brings us to the core operational thesis of the document, the chain of command.
The flowchart.
Right. And this is where the claims get truly dramatic, because it's one thing to say God listens. It's another thing entirely to say that humans can move the universe.
Yeah, let's unpack that, because the text literally says God's children possess the great authority to move all things in heaven and earth.
It does.
That is a massive, massive claim. All things. I mean, some days I can barely move myself off the couch.
It is a staggering level of agency attributed to the believer, but notice the structure of how it works.
Yeah.
It's not magic where you just wave a wand and things magically happen. It's delegated authority. The text describes a very specific flowchart of operations.
So walk me through that flowchart. I speak, and then what happens? Does it go straight to the angels to do my bidding?
Not quite. And that distinction is very important. The flowchart goes like this. Step 1, the believer prays or speaks. That's the ignition.
The spark.
Right. Step 2, God hears that transmission and issues a command.
Okay.
Then step 3, the angels execute that command.
So the angels are the workforce, but they take their marching orders from the top.
Correct. And this is the key, but the orders from the top are triggered by the request from the bottom.
The bottom being us.
Yes.
Yes.
The text says the angels work throughout the world based on these prayers. It paints a picture of a universe teeming with invisible activity that is all mobilized by human speech.
It reminds me of a military operation. You have the soldier on the ground with a radio.
Right, the forward observer.
Yeah. He can't fly the jet himself. He doesn't have the bombs, but he has the authority to call in the air support.
That is a very apt analogy. The authority to call in the strike or the supply drop lies with the person on the ground. This source text emphasizes this clearly. It says, therefore, the heavens and earth created by God move according to our words. It places the ignition key right in human hands.
Okay, you used the phrase call in a strike just now, and that actually leads perfectly into the part of the text that honestly shocked me the most.
The double-edged sword?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when we talk about prayer, we usually think about asking for nice things, health, happiness, maybe a promotion at work.
Or world peace, if we're feeling generous.
Right, blessings. We ask for blessings. But this text takes a really sharp turn here. It says that angels are out there executing blessings and curses.
Yes. That is a detail that really demands we pause and think.
I had to read it twice. Curses. I thought angels were strictly the good guys, protecting kids crossing the street and helping you find your car keys. But this suggests are they enforcers?
It suggests they are neutral executors of the command.
Neutral.
Yes. If the system is input leads to output, then the system itself is agnostic to the content of the input. The text says they execute blessings and curses with equal efficiency.
That is heavy. Really heavy.
It changes the entire tone of the document, doesn't it? It implies that this authority isn't entirely safe. It's a loaded weapon.
So it's not foolproof.
Not at all. If angels execute what we speak, and the system handles negative consequences just as well as positive ones, then our anger, our bitterness, our rash words, those might have kinetic energy too.
So if I'm walking around grumbling or wishing bad things on someone who cut me off in traffic, according to this text, I'm not just venting, I'm potentially entering coordinates for a strike.
In the logic of this specific text, yes. The mechanism doesn't judge the moral quality of the word, it simply transmits it.
That is terrifying.
It emphasizes the sheer weight of the authority being described. You aren't just a child asking for candy. You are, in the view of this text, a sovereign agent capable of dispensing real power.
That makes me want to tape my mouth shut permanently.
It certainly argues for a bit more silence, doesn't it?
Definitely. But the text doesn't want us to just shut up and hide. It actually pivots here to tell us what we should be doing with this power.
Right. The section on identity and duty.
Yeah, because
Right.
if you have access to this kind of power, the power to initiate movement in the heavens,
Yeah.
you better know who you are and what you're actually supposed to do with it.
Exactly. And the metaphor changes here. We move away from the smoke imagery to light. The text calls this the physics of light.
It compares the believer to celestial bodies,
Yeah.
right? The sun, the moon, the stars.
Yes.
Which again, it feels a bit poetic at first glance.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're a star. Thanks, got it.
But look closer at the actual function of those bodies. What does a star do?
It shines.
Right. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't strive or struggle. It just emits. It radiates.
Okay.
The text defines the core responsibility of the believer as revealing the glory of light. And it defines that light specifically as God's word.
So if we follow the logic thread here we speak, which moves angels, but our baseline state of being is supposed to be one that shines, we are transmitters.
We are beacons. Or perhaps to use a more modern analogy, think of it like a radio tower.
I like that.
Your primary job is to broadcast a clear signal. And that signal is the light. Now, if you aren't broadcasting that clear signal,
You're just broadcasting static.
worse. You might be a signal jammer.
Oh,
And this is where the text presents a really strict dichotomy. It's a binary outcome. There is absolutely no middle ground in this worldview.
I noticed that. It's very black and white,
Yeah.
literally. Let's look at option A first, the child of the day.
Option A is the ideal state. You shine the light of the word, you reveal God's glory, you fulfill your function just like the sun or the moon.
You're doing what you were built to do.
Exactly. You are a child of the day and a child of God. You are functioning exactly as designed.
And option B,
Option B is what happens when you fail that duty. The text says if we lose sight of that duty, we don't just become dim or flickering, we become dark and gloomy.
we become children of the night.
Yes.
And it gets darker than that, actually.
It does. It explicitly identifies this state with being children of the devil.
Whoa, that escalated so quickly. 1 minute you're just not praying enough, and the next minute you're on Team Devil.
I agree. But it fits the mechanical worldview the text presents perfectly.
How so?
Because light and darkness are mutually exclusive physics. You cannot have a room that is simultaneously lit and pitch black.
Right.
If the light goes out, the darkness isn't something you add to the room, it's just the inherent absence of the light.
So the text is framing this not just as a moral choice, like try to be a good person, but as an ontological change.
Ontological, yes, exactly. Relating to the very nature of being.
So it changes your DNA, basically.
In a spiritual sense, yes. The text suggests that your actions, specifically whether you emit this light or not, change what you are.
Wow.
You shift from being a child of day to a child of night. The stakes couldn't possibly be higher. It's an identity crisis on a cosmic scale.
It really puts the pressure on. It's like saying, hey, here are the keys to a Ferrari.
Mhm.
But if you don't drive it perfectly, you turn into, well, something terrible.
It does imply that the state of being a believer isn't static. It's not something you achieve and then you're done.
It requires maintenance.
Exactly. It requires the active continual emission of light. If you stop the output, you fundamentally change the nature of the vessel.
Man. So let's try to zoom out for a second and put this all together for everyone listening. We've got smoke ears, angels, blessings, curses, light, darkness. It's a lot of moving parts.
It is a complex system.
What is the big picture takeaway here?
When we synthesize all of this, we see a worldview that is incredibly active. This isn't a passive religion where you just sit in a pew and wait for things to happen to you.
It's hands-on.
Very. This is a participatory universe.
Right. It feels like the text is grabbing you by the shoulders and saying, wake up, you're in the driver's seat.
Exactly.
Hmm.
The believer is the initiator, the angels are the mechanism of action, and the fuel for the whole system is the word or the light. It suggests that the spiritual realm is highly responsive to us. We are not spectators in this universe. We are operators.
I keep going back to that image of the smoke before the throne. It's such a powerful reminder that in this worldview, absolutely nothing is wasted.
No word is wasted. That is a key takeaway.
Yeah.
Think about our modern world. We are drowning in words.
Hmm.
Social media, texts, emails, 24-hour news cycles, it all feels so cheap and disposable.
So disposable.
But this text argues the exact opposite. It argues for weighty speech.
Weighty speech. Explain that a bit more.
It suggests that every single intent has a mechanical reaction. It's like dropping a pebble into a still pond.
The ripples.
Right. You might drop it and walk away, but the ripples are still moving outward, touching things you can't even see. And because the machinery of the angels is always on, those ripples go incredibly far.
It makes you want to be a whole lot more careful about which pebbles you pick up to throw.
And that leads to a really provocative thought, doesn't it?
Which one?
Well, we talked about the blessings and curses, and we talked about the sheer authority to move heaven and earth.
Right.
If this text is true, if the mechanism is as powerful and efficient as it claims to be, then perhaps the greatest challenge for the child of light isn't learning what to say.
What is it then?
It might be learning what not to say.
Oh, man. The restraint.
Exactly. Restraint.
Because if angels are standing by to execute the intent of your words, and they can execute curses just as easily as blessings.
Imagine the damage a single moment of unbridled anger could do.
Yeah.
If you have the nuclear codes, the most important skill isn't typing in the launch sequence.
Is keeping your hand off the button.
Precisely, keeping your hand off the button.
That is a terrifying thought to leave on. We usually think more prayer is better, but maybe better prayer is better.
Or mindful speech is better.
Hmm.
If you hold the authority to mend the earth, you have a profound responsibility to not break it.
Well, on that cheerful note. But seriously, this has been absolutely fascinating. It's definitely going to make me think twice the next time I'm about to shout into the void of my car.
As well it should. The void might just be listening.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today. It's been a wild ride through the mechanics of the spiritual world.
My pleasure, anytime.
And to everyone listening out there, watch your words. We'll see you in the next